What it is, Mundane Gaming, and my soon-to-be flag-bearing gamers, and then, oh man, I'm sorry, I am so sorry, this is going to be bad, but we are here to watch r/entitled parents. Yep, r/entitled parents from the man, the myth, the legend, Misery Box. So, without further ado, let's get into the video.
17. Entitled Mom at Disney World Food Court. So this was 1986 at the Magic Kingdom. Hubby and I took our two nieces to the park. They are 8 and 10. Hubby and the 10-year-old get in line to order food. The 8-year-old and I go in search of a table. The food court is crowded because it's a few days after Christmas. We find a table off in Timbuktu in a corner. I leave my niece there to go let the others know where we are. As I come back to the table and encounter Entitled Mom. She had put her food tray on our table and is pulling my niece by the arm out of the chair. I tell her to let go, and this is our table. Niece is backing up into the corner. The woman is relentless. She tries to grab her again, and I stop her. She is yelling at me that she needs this table for her kids. I took her tray full of food and slammed it down on top of the trash can, yelled at her to get away from us. My poor niece was huddled in the corner, terrified. What was so outrageous is there were several tables right nearby, all being held by adults. She wasn't over there trying to get them off their seats. She picked on a young child. This woman was lucky that I was not yet a parent, because I can only imagine what would have happened if Mama Bear had responded. My nieces bring up this story at every family gathering for the last 30 plus years. Yeah! Hey now.
Now, this is old school, but at the same time, dang, dude, y'all ain't some. What type of people are these people? Oh boy, let's see how far we gonna go with this.
What up, everybody? Misery Box here. Now, before we get into today's cringe, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel for daily Reddit videos.
Subscribe to this man. It's funny. I'm glad he does actually have some opinion behind most of what he says. So it's cool. So
now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Entitled Parent Lets Sick Kid Loose on Cruise Ruins Everyone's Vacation. So this happened a while ago. I'm going on another cruise soon and was sharing old stories and realized that this might make a good one to post on Reddit. Not sure if it fits exactly under Entitled Parents, so apologies if it doesn't belong here. Another sorry for the length and that there's no dialogue. I can't remember too much, and it's more the situation that went out of hand and what the parent did than what the parent said. This is my first post here. I hope you enjoy. 2 or 3 years ago, I went on a cruise with my mother and my friend with his mother. We grew up together as our families are really close, so we're practically like siblings. This was an 8-day cruise departing from NYC, going around the Caribbean, and then going back. The ship was one of the really nice famous ones with tons of restaurants, pools, water slides, etc. It had a capacity of over 2,000 guests. On the second day, our parents made friends with another group of families, and we decided to head out together that day. Once the boat pulled into port, we met at breakfast to plan the day. There were quite a few families with younger kids, and of course all young kids left to discretion at open buffets were wild and kinda gross. Later on, I overheard one parent EP complaining to someone about their kid. Apparently kid wasn't feeling well and hadn't wanted to come, but EP didn't want to leave him behind to laze around in their room as they had spent so much money to go out and have fun. I didn't think of it as something too serious, so we carried on.
but the child was sick.
Around halfway through the day, while hiking in the middle of nowhere on some small mountain, I started having serious stomach cramps. They got to the point where I would have to stop and breathe every 10 minutes or so. My mom and my friend decided to leave the rest of the group to help me back to where our tour bus was waiting, as I was clearly in no condition to continue hiking. It took us a while since I was in so much pain, but eventually we got back on the bus where I could attempt to sleep and wear it off. We assumed I had gotten food poisoning, ate something bad. What I hadn't known and found out later was that the fucking kid from earlier wasn't just not feeling well, he had norovirus. Symptoms include severe vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, muscle aches, fever, and fatigue, lethargy. It can last days, which doesn't seem long, but keep in mind that it was an 8-day cruise and is extremely contagious, especially in close quarters. Well, guess what? We just happened to be in a closed-off ship with thousands of people with open buffets just waiting to be contaminated. By the next day, third, I wasn't the only one not feeling well. Everyone in our room had got it. My mom, my friend, his mom. There was a small line in front of the clinic by the time we got there, including a couple of the families who went on the hike with us. Literally everyone suffering from similar symptoms. The medical staff gave us some sort of Tylenol-esque medication and told us to stay in our room for the next while, so we didn't pass it to anyone else. We listened to them eat. What excites you most about
boy,
this
sorry.
update?
So sorry.
The orcs.
Oh, sorry. And we're back. Sorry.
EP continued to take their kid around the water slides, buffets, shows, despite everyone warning her not to. Her son was still very much sick, but she wanted him to have the best experience on his first ever cruise. On the 4th day, word of mouth told me that it was quick.
Because the parents are a sack of shit. I ain't even getting monetized for this. I know I'm going to go ahead and say, parents are some sack of motherfucking shit. Yeah, of course you want your child to be having fun, this, that, and third, but he's sick. He wants to lay down. Care about your child enough to go ahead and say something. You sick piece of...
Spreading. The cruise started offering free movies and in-room catering for those who were sick in a futile attempt to keep them in their rooms. Live shows were canceled because even the performers were getting sick. On the 5th day, the cruise announced that they could not dock the ship at the stop of the day. Local authorities had heard of the outbreak and forbade us from entering the port. Everyone was in a lot of pain. I could barely hold down water without throwing up. Felt dizzy if I did as much as stand up, and just in general felt like utter absolute shit. I had Tylenol and rest though, and by around the 6th day, both my friend and I were well on the mend. We dared to spend a few minutes outside. No openable windows in the room made us crave fresh air. The population outside was decimated. If you've never been on a cruise before, it's like a mall on Boxing Day. There are people everywhere talking and laughing and eating and doing whatever you do on a cruise.
Right.
But that day the ship was almost empty, other than some employees wearing gloves and face masks, and a few lucky stragglers. We probably saw around 100 to 200 people in comparison to the 2,000 person capacity. In order to have a good time, EP let her kids spread the virus to almost everybody on the ship. There is no vaccine for norovirus, so literally nobody could have been safe. Not to mention cruise ships always have many retired elderly with lower immunity levels. She didn't just ruin literally everyone's vacation.
She damn near
put
killed people
at genuine risk as well. I don't think her son should even have been allowed to board the ship in the first place if they had known he was sick, as I believe there are some regulations about bringing contagious diseases into the closed environment. Anyhow, moral of this story is don't take your sick kids on vacation. If you do have to for some reason, at least leave them in the room and let them recuperate instead of passing it around. It's not only better for everyone else, it's better for them too. Also, avoid open cruise ship buffets if possible. Most have at least 1 or 2 free a la carte restaurant options for all 3 meals. Edit. For those asking, we did ask the cruise line for a refund, but never got a response. So basically all we got out of it was the free movies and chicken soup while we were sick.
That's gotta suck. But
if you're...
Might cut this one short because we're trying to pull in, but I'm gonna leave the description down below where who for Misery Box, the best, one of the best, next to my boy, No Name, because the NOs gotta go ahead and represent, But just like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy No Words. Holla,